I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Welcome, Ventura, to Fun with HR. Jeff, don't laugh. Good morning.
Good morning. Kind of caught you by surprise,
I
huh?
did. I was like, oh my gosh, where am I?
You're in another world, I think.
I was. I was already thinking about everything we're going to talk about today.
Oh, it's going to be an exciting show, but
So exciting.
more about that in a minute. So, I was kind of wondering this morning, what's your favorite holiday tradition growing up?
Cookies. My Aunt Elba, who was just amazing, would bake with me. So we would start making cookies from, let's say, mid-December through Christmas. And it didn't matter where they were from or what it was. I loved baking it.
So, it's cookies. It's not the Christmas tree.
No.
It's not the spiced wine.
No. As a matter of fact, there are places around town that I walk in and I smell those cookies, regardless of what time of year it is, and I am immediately transported to my aunt's kitchen Christmas.
Awesome. I wasn't expecting that answer. I'm speechless, just like you were at the beginning of the
Well,
show.
I know a lot of you might have been expecting. I love the opening of the gifts. I like the Christmas, the trees, the ornaments. And, because it was just Mom and I doing this for a long time, that was just work.
You don't like the Christmas music?
Oh, God, no. No.
I know. We lasted one whole day in the office before the Christmas music got turned off this year.
Yes, and that was a beautiful one day.
I think it was torture for you.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, we're coming up on the beginning of the year, and it's time for employers to start thinking about employment laws that are coming into effect in 2022. As of now, there's about 150 plus new federal laws going into effect. And in California, we're still not sure because our governor is still signing laws. So we're keeping track of those. But a couple of laws that have caught our attention so far are SB 807, which is a record-keeping requirement, which requires employers to maintain employee and applicant personnel records for a minimum of 4 years.
That's different because
different.
it used to be 1 year.
It used to be 1 year, but it's something that everybody needs to keep in mind. And prior to this law, our recommendation was never accept a resume unless you're actively looking for somebody. Now even more so, because if you accept a resume, you got to hang on to that thing for at least 4 years. Because if you have a DFEH complaint, you need to hold on to those records until that complaint is resolved, which could be quite a while.
Yeah, normally I would say 1 to 2 years is definitely the minimum.
Yeah, so
Wow.
especially when it comes to your applicants, don't accept anything unless you're actively considering them for a job.
More to come.
More to come. The other one was AB 1003, which is wage theft criminalization. This one's kind of frightening from an employer's standpoint because this law makes wage theft a crime punishable as grand theft. And wage theft includes stealing of wages, tips, benefits, or other forms of compensation from workers for the amounts greater than $950 from one employee or $2,350 for 2 or more employees in any 1 year period. And the thing that adds up quickly is we hear all the time where companies say, I don't pay overtime. Or those meal period penalties that nobody seems to be paying. Those add up quickly.
Right.
And if an employee makes a claim against you, you could be charged with grand theft as of 2022.
Oh, dear.
So,
Well,
more
that
to
just
come.
means that more than ever, we're just going to have to remind everybody that listens or wants to listen to us that when somebody either leaves voluntarily or involuntary, that those wages have to get paid as soon as possible. There is that 72-hour rule if the employee leaves on their own accord. But when you terminate, it has to be paid on the day of termination. There's no questions asked about that. So it just means more than ever, we're going to be annoying.
We are going to be very annoying.
Yes.
And if you want more information, go to our website, thehrfirm.com, and go to the bottom of the page and sign up for our newsletter, because we are going to be putting out newsletters and Fast and Furious as we become aware. Well, not as we become aware, because we are going to be aware as we research these new laws and determine how it's applicable to our client base. So
Maybe we should bring Marie Davis back so that we can talk about these.
I think that would be an excellent idea to bring Marie back. But the other thing that this is the season for is holiday parties. The other bane of our existence
Yes,
is the
I
dreaded
know,
holiday
I know.
party. So let's spend some time today talking about that.
Okay.
Well, why don't we start with the ugly first? What are the liabilities for employers for having a holiday party?
Oh goodness. I'm often known as the Grinch when it comes to my clients, because I have to always tell them, you have to remember your liability. You increase your liability whenever you serve alcohol. You increase your liability whenever you don't think things through. So I want to actually talk about it from the employee side, the manager side, as well as the company side, so that way we break it down into 3 categories and see where people are going to be.
Okay, from the employee perspective then.
So from the employee perspective, I mean, what else would be as fun as having a holiday party or a party in general, where you have the people you've been with for the last year, if not more, working side by side, and in essence, you just kind of want to let your hair down. We've all been there. However, what they don't realize is a holiday party is an event for your work, which means, do we really want to do it something or anything that is going to be, fodder next day? We're going to talk about, Cindy Lou doing, did you see that? Or, holy cow, I didn't know that blah, blah, blah could do that. Or worse, if there's alcohol involved, not only the drunk part, the passing out part, but what about the throwing up part? Trust me, if you've done this at a holiday party, you've been talked about.
The drunk part.
Yeah.
People actually get drunk at holiday parties.
All the time.
Clue me in, because it's been a long time since I've been the one.
So unfortunately, people think, well, it's the holidays. Let's celebrate. Let's have wine. Let's have an open bar. Let's have basically the opportunity to get to know each other. And if you've ever been around a drunk person, they're kind of either really, chatty Cathys, or they're really bad drunks. So there's no in between. There's no fun drunk. Fun Bobby on Friends was total mystery. And what it comes down to is it's an event. So it means that it could make it so that people don't trust you. It could make it so that people don't want to work with you. Again, you're at an event for work. Behave like it. From the employer side, think about where you're going to have this event. Don't have it at your house, because that's how things leave. And by that I mean I've had clients that have complained that whole cases of wine have left their house with employees who have decided the employer lives a really good lifestyle, so they're going to help themselves to it. We've also been told of managers who see employees that are a little too drunk and comment about it but don't do anything about it. Managers, supervisors, leads, please remember that you are there not as an employee, but you are still representing the company. So when people hear you comment, oh my goodness, look at that guy, he's really drunk, not a good thing. And when they see you doing nothing, it means, of course, now the company, as with everything else, is okay with that behavior. Again, you're representing the company, not yourselves. Oh, and by the way, if somebody is drunk, especially females or males, it doesn't really matter. Don't call Uber them in the back of an Uber with a total stranger and tell them to take them home. You've just now given the Uber, Lyft, or whoever driver not only the address of a drunk person, but you've now sent an incapacitated person with them. Again, liability. Think about it.
So, just calling a cab, putting somebody in Uber is not a good idea. So what you're basically saying is having alcohol at a Christmas party is not a good idea.
It's never a good idea, but if you try and mitigate it by simply having tickets and saying, here, you have one drink, and you give food, it's going to minimize that. Again, what I'm saying is people are still drinking and driving, and sometimes one drink can put you into the DUI arena. So again, if they cause any issues, meaning the employees, they run into somebody, they get caught, or they cause an accident, the victim of that isn't going to look at it and go, gee, Tommy was, at an event earlier and they gave him the alcohol, so they're also responsible for their actions. So again, think things through. It's okay to have fun, just don't get, caught up in the fun and forget that it's a work event.
So if you're, let's say, at a restaurant and you're having an event and somebody slips and falls, what's the employer's liability there?
Well, if it's an employee, it could be considered a work comp. If it's not an employee, the restaurant is going to obviously be tapping into their liability insurance. And as with everything, the owner of the company, the employer, could still be held liable because, again, that person wasn't there on their own accord. Again, just remember, I'm not an attorney, but I'm telling you best practices. We live in a litigious society. So in essence, when you put on an event, you take on the responsibility that if something goes wrong, it's going to come back to you.
So even though the employees are not being paid to be at the holiday party, if they slip and fall, that could still be considered work comp?
Well, I have been in this situation, and all names of the guilty have been changed so that they don't know I'm talking about them, but you know who you are. In essence, the employee could say, I wasn't there on my own accord because I thought I was forced to go into the event because it's a holiday party. I know I was not being paid for it, but if I didn't go, I was going to be retaliated against in some form. So there's always things that employees could claim. What I'm saying is, as an employer, just make sure that you think things through. And that means, keeping an eye on things that are being spilled at the location. This is where you become a partner with the person that owns the restaurant where you're at, because in essence, they don't want the liability any more than you do. They want to help you celebrate the holidays, but it's that unknown. It's the what's going to happen.
So what kind of holiday party do you think would be a good holiday party to hold?
So most people are going to lunches instead of dinners. And what they're doing is they're not allowing for spouses, partners, friends, plus ones to come. It's just the employee. And not only is that going to keep the cost down, but it's also going to make it so that you're not getting out of hand because you don't have that extra person that can drive you home or that can take care of you. Lunches, potlucks, all of that is becoming a little bit more of a norm. Of course, with COVID, you have to remember there's still certain things that you have to follow. Food is food, and we don't want to share anything too much. The other thing that is happening is holiday parties are being done away with, and instead, employers are saying, hey, here's a gift card for you, $50 for you to go to X restaurant and take your spouse or your friend, and it's on us. Again, they're allocating the monies to actually fit the same need, which is in essence, let's celebrate the end of the year, but let's do it in a safer way.
What are some of the success stories for holiday parties you've been associated with?
Well, some of those success stories happen to be the ones where they focus on a community event. Instead of having a holiday party, they will get together and, for example, go to a local shelter and have something like a food share moment. They're either helping serve food or they're helping at a pantry. It's a community based service, and that's always great. Makes everybody, it's a win-win for everyone. The other thing that I'm seeing more and more of is simply bringing in something into the office, but not having it be a formal event, kind of like in the kitchen, there's food if you'd like to go. You don't have to go get lunch. There's something there instead. There's all kinds of things that people are doing that are more on the individual side and more an experience rather than just let's sit and get drunk.
What about horror stories?
Oh, God.
I know we don't have
We
a
don't-
lot of time.
You know
so
what? We have some awesome guests today, but I can tell you horror stories range from walking in on people having sex in places that they shouldn't. walking in and having people throw up on you, finding people, in essence, passed out. My favorite one, though, is the one where the employee decided to tell off their supervisor because end of year meant cleansing themselves, and somehow they thought that meant publicly humiliating their supervisor was going to make them keep their job. Things like that definitely don't do.
Awesome. So the bottom line is if your company has a holiday party, keep in mind that you still need to see the people that you're going to the party with the following week, that you're still working with them. So basically you're still in business mode, even though it's a little bit more relaxed.
Yes.
And have fun, but, be sensible and be reasonable. How can people get a hold of us to get more information?
Well, the HR firm is always here to be of service. We can be called 805-853-3476. You can also reach us through our website at info@thehrfirm.com. And, best part, they can always also go on Facebook, social media. We're really accessible. We're not hiding.
No, we're not hiding. I'm just flabbergasted right now because I can't believe you remembered our phone number.
Yeah,
Inside
me too.
joke.
Me too.
Rosandra can't even remember her home address.
Nope.
So
I have to waze myself
she has to waze herself to get home.
every day.
We have a great show today. We have Wendy from Danny's Deli with us
Yay!
coming up as soon as we get back from commercial. And we have Bob Davis with the Loan Depot here also today. So let's move on with the show. Fun with HR is brought to you by the HR Firm. You can reach them at 805-853-FIRM. That's 805-853-3476. Because if you have employees, you have issues.
Every business owner knows employees can be your biggest asset and your biggest liability. That's why you need to know for sure that your company is compliant with today's ever-changing laws. The HR Firm is the premier human resource consulting firm in Ventura County, specializing in working with small to mid-sized companies. The HR Firm provides everything you need to keep your company compliant, from handbooks to policies and procedures to workers' compensation claim management. We've got you covered. They offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation for new clients. As your local HR consultant, they're just a phone call away. For more information, contact them at info@thehrfirm.com or at 805-835-3476. Because if you have employees, you have issues.
This is Bob Davis, Ventura County resident for over 50 years. Loan Depot and I have teamed up to provide fax and mortgage lending experience that gives you satisfaction that you want to share with people you love. 805-658-7435. That's 805-658-7435. Real, honest, and fair mortgage lending. NMLS 249185.
Hey employers, are you tired of spending your valuable time posting jobs on the job boards? Are you tired of looking through resumes to find that one diamond in the rough? Your time is way too valuable, so let the professionals at Atharva Workforce find that diamond in the rough for you. Spend more time on your business and less time looking for those employees. Call Atharva Workforce at 805-826-0033.
Welcome back to Fun with HR. Hey, Rosandra, the results from last week's question of the week are in.
Okay, what are they?
Well, first off, the question was, do you still send out Christmas or holiday cards, yes or no? What do you think the poll results were?
Well, considering we've been receiving Christmas cards throughout this whole week, I'm going to say yes.
Well, no. The results were split almost 50-50. And I found that a little bit surprising because I would have thought it would have been mostly no these days, because I know personally I stopped sending out holiday cards a long time ago. I know we still send them out professionally, but I was surprised. about half the people still send out holiday or Christmas cards. So this week's question of the week is, what is your favorite holiday tradition? I know for you it's cookies. For me I love Christmas carols, so I drive Rosandra crazy for the month of December.
Yes, you do.
But anyway, I think we have a very exciting guest waiting to come on.
Oh my goodness, I have to tell you, I'm so excited to talk to Wendy of Danny's Deli. So let me give you a little bit of background. I first discovered Danny's Deli about 10 years ago. And you were the most supportive, amazing group of people I could have found.
Oh, that's so nice.
Newly divorced, I was there with my Weave Mastermind group, and you allowed us to not only sit there and work on our business plans, but we did this every week, and it was wonderful. And yes, I know that we were your customers, but you never rushed us. You always said, is there anything else that we can do for you? It was that smile. It was that awesome experience. So I want you to know that even though you didn't realize it, much of what became the HR firm was thought at Danny's Deli.
That's so nice. I love that. I didn't know that.
It's very much because I wanted people to come into our office and have that exact same feeling. So Wendy, thank you for coming on, and thank you for just everything that you do for the community. I wanted to feature you and talk about Danny's Deli, not only because Bob had said how he had been helped by Danny's Deli in a few of his activities, but because I consider you one of our hidden gems. If you're a local and you don't know about Danny's Deli, then you are not a local.
Thank you. I agree.
Very true.
It's one of those things that, like, when we ask people, where do you go for breakfast? Danny's Deli comes up in top 5 always. When we ask, where do you go for lunch? Danny's Deli comes up. Now, for dinner, Danny's Deli comes up. And it's one of those things that I kind of go, okay, well, if we're all eating there, then that means that's like the local hangout. So I tested it. So I said to Jeff, let's go to lunch. And we have this thing where we say we can't go anywhere in Ventura without
Seeing
finding
people.
someone.
Yep.
But we couldn't get to our table because we were so busy saying hello to people that we hadn't seen in a while. And I said to him, again, Danny's Deli.
We always say we're a little bit like Cheers.
Yes.
You know, so many people do come in. They do see people either they haven't seen for quite a while or just, the people that they run into all the time. But it's funny how often we get that comment of, I can't come in here without seeing at least one person that I'm friendly with.
Well, tell
which
us.
is wonderful.
Tell us a little bit about the magic. Tell us about the employees. Tell us about Danny's.
Well, I think part of what makes Danny's really special for me as well as our customers is that we are very down home. We're very family oriented. Our employees, we've got over 40 employees, and I would say 70% have been with us 15 years or longer, which makes it that our customers can come in and have that comfort level of being waited on by people they know, who know their order, who know what they drink, who know their family. And so it becomes a very friendly family kind of place to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a huge draw for us. People like being recognized. They like the comfort level. We have a lot of customers who come in and they're elderly people who we are the only people they may talk to all day long or see. And so we're able to provide that source of socialization in a sense for them. But, we have people who come in that, they love our servers. They ask for a specific person, or whatever it might be. It feels like home.
Yes.
And that's big.
Yes, absolutely. And there are no bad servers.
There really
Well,
aren't.
I know when Rosandra goes in there, she's been going in for so long that the servers, I think every one of them knows exactly what she wants.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
How many places can you really go? and
Wendy,
live?
the bad part of that is Rosandra's knowledge of your menu is very narrow.
Yes.
Because she is in a zone where she goes to Danny's and this is what she wants. I'm going, well, there's other stuff on here.
Exactly, and you don't want to burn out on that one or two
But
items.
If she does change the servers get upset because they got to scratch out her
Yep.
order because they already had written down what she wanted when they saw her
Oh,
come
we
in.
tell people if they're walking in and they want to change what they're going to drink or they're going to eat, they better tell us as they're walking in
walking,
because
yes.
otherwise it is going to be at their table when they sit down.
And it's all delicious. I have to tell you that I've even tried the liver and onions. Awesome.
You know, it's funny because people don't usually like to cook that at home, so you want to go out and get that.
Yes.
And as you know, it's a very traditional kind of
Yes.
item, and
Yes.
it is surprising how much we do sell liver and onions.
Oh, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Even when I took my parents, when they moved in with us, I said, we're going to Danny's Deli. And Mom said, is that the place with the pies? And I said, yes. So your strawberry cream cheese,
yeah.
that's considered fruit in our house.
As it should be. It's healthy.
It's healthy. I'm like, Mom, we're going to have fruit. And she's like, awesome. I love it. Of course, when I bring the pie, she's like, oh, I should have remembered fruit. And she loves it. She loves it. Some of my clients, I've sold them on that being the fruit that they get for birthday parties.
Oh, see, smart.
So I said, if the person wants fruit, give them that.
Yeah,
and
it
they
is a
said,
great pie.
It is. It is. I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about what drives your community involvement, because you're already part of the community. Tell me how it is that you kind of keep that connection going.
Well, we've been in business for 22 years in Ventura, and over that period of time, you get to know so many people. You get to learn about wonderful organizations that are in the area. You know, as soon as we moved out here, we immediately connected with the temple, being that we are a Jewish-style deli. So we do work with them weekly. We're right next door to Assumption Church, so we immediately were able to connect with the church, which is fabulous, and they were incredible to us during COVID with being able to use their parking lot because we had a 50 by 30 foot tent, so people couldn't park. And then, you know, their organizations, Bob, you know, has always come up with fabulous organizations because he's so involved in the community. Caregivers is something that's always been very close to my husband and my hearts. It's just there's so much in Ventura, and it is so connected. It's very personal out here, which is why I love it. It's a very small, big town, and so you are able to find, you know, wonderful things. I love the aspect of, local art, and so we did a mural on the side of our building. It's the largest mural in Ventura. It's 85-foot mural that M.B. Hanrahan, who is a Ventura artist, did for us. We did that for our 20th anniversary, and that's something that I'm really proud of, and it's beautiful. I love what it did to the side of the building.
It is.
And I drive up every day and I look, make sure it hasn't been tagged, and just relive it.
Sure.
But there's so much to be involved within this area, and it's foolish to not try and do what you can, and it also just gives a really good feeling of knowing that it makes us that much more of a part of this community, and it's a great community.
It is. I have to say I'm not a native here of Ventura, but I mean, I still say I'm from Bell. However, I've been here long enough that I have experienced just how welcoming Ventura can be. And it's not pick and choose who they welcome. It's truly they welcome everyone. It's kind of like that, that aunt that you have, or at least my aunt's like, oh, we're strangers once. Next time you're family. We expect you here for Christmas, holidays, summer, everything.
Or they want you to succeed because you're new in the business. It's going to be up to you to fail by not doing what you need to do.
Yes.
Otherwise, people out here, they want to be involved. They want businesses to succeed. There's a kindness in Ventura.
Absolutely. I got to say, when Jeff and I go out of the area for clients and we come back, the most beautiful view, and we've been not around the world, but definitely in different places, the most beautiful view to us is still coming into Ventura when we come down the grade.
We got a little slice of heaven going here.
Absolutely. We're home at that point. It doesn't matter if we're in Camarillo and Oxnard or wherever. It's still home, and it's absolutely wonderful. So tell me, though, what is it about Danny's Deli that we can look forward to in the holiday season? What do you have up your sleeves?
Well, the great thing about us is everything is homemade. I can tell you, all of the pies, like you had mentioned, cakes, our pastries, all of our desserts, our breads are all homemade. We cook most of our meats in-house. So, when you're being served something, whether it's in the restaurant or it's at a catered event for a party, or something along those lines, it is homemade. So it is a step above, we believe. But, for Thanksgiving, we did a tremendous amount of pies. It was fabulous. We did a Thanksgiving meal that people could pre-order and pick up the day before, because Thanksgiving was one day of the year that we close. And so people were able to pick up a meal so that they didn't have to cook if there's only 1, 2, 3 people. That's a big meal that you don't necessarily want to do. But we actually did it for people, groups of 10, 12s, that they can go home and reheat the next day. So for the holidays, we have right now, Hanukkah cookies that we're doing because it is Hanukkah. We've got our pies and such for Christmas again. We're going to be doing a Christmas dinner, the same thing that we did for Thanksgiving. We found last year during COVID, when people couldn't get together with large groups, it was nice and easy for them to just be able to have that where they could pick it up day before and not have to go to all of that hassle of traditional baking and such. So we do have fabulous pies, cakes, desserts, and we will have Christmas meals again.
Your bread, I have to say. So one of the things, I don't cook. Well, I cook once a year. Thanksgiving is my thing. It's like the kitchen becomes mine in Thanksgiving, and it drives Jeff and my mom crazy because I close the doors and all they hear is the pots and pans kind of going in. They kind of hope I'm not like laying dead on the ground.
You're running out the back door to Danny's and bringing the food in, pretending it's yours.
That's right.
That's how you do it.
Yes, Wendy. But your bread, holy cow! I make French toast with your challah bread.
Oh, it's the best.
Oh, it
Family
is.
favorite.
So I take orders from my family, and when I say I take orders, I normally start asking on Wednesday, what are we having for breakfast on Saturday or Sunday? And I always have an order for either pancakes or French toast. And I tell them they can't have both. They can have one or the other. So for the longest time, French toast was the thing.
Yeah.
It was, there's no other. And I made the mistake of not ordering the challah bread ahead of time. So I kind of just walked in and assumed that there would be lots of bread. One of the things about the bread being so awesome is it sells out.
Yeah, we
Right?
try and, make enough, but you never know from one week to the next exactly how many.
Right.
So, we do have a lot of people that do pre-order, which is always smart because our challah is wonderful. And we have a chocolate chip challah that I don't know if you've tried
I
for
haven't.
French toast.
I haven't.
It's
We haven't had that.
incredible.
We haven't.
It's really, really good. So the regular challah,
It
again, you
is,
can't
it
go
is.
wrong.
You can't go wrong. Or
but-
the raisin.
Yeah, exactly.
The
but,
raisin one is just delicious. But
my
the
son
chocolate
Alex,
chip-
who is also my business partner, he's been in the business with me for the last 5 years. He is a chocoholic. So years ago, I think when he was probably in middle school or something, he's like, can't we put chocolate in this challah? And so we tried doing it with the chocolate chips, and it's incredible.
How did we not know about the chocolate challah?
Because it sells out.
No,
Well, we
because
could
your
just
vision
plan
is
ahead.
so
I
know,
narrow. We only
vision.
think raisin challah.
I walk in there and it's like I want it all. The bread, the pies, the food, the atmosphere. I mean, again,
You're very sweet, and we appreciate that.
Oh, well, it's nothing that you don't work hard and deserve. And I want to tell you, yours was one of the few places that for COVID, you put up a tent and you totally pivoted to the point where people were still able to have a little bit of social while still being in compliance with the health order. And we participated in that we went out there a couple of times and we loved it. So congratulations for that. How else did COVID affect you?
Well, it taught me to be flexible. I'm not the most flexible person in the world. And I found I had to be, changing directions continuously, as everybody else did. But, we found new ways of doing business. I mean, you had to, the sanitizing, we'd always been a very clean place. That's
Right.
huge to me. But went, over the top. And I know people still are very comfortable with coming in,
Absolutely.
even inside, where some places they might not go, but for us they do, because they see the extra steps that we go to. And it just, it changed our business model to the effect that you're dealing with shortage of employees, which everybody is, having to deal with, shortage of product. I mean, it's amazing. We place our orders, almost every day with different vendors, and we always keep our fingers crossed for what we're actually going to get, because it changes day to day, week to week. So you have to deal with that kind of transition, and, everything is astronomically more expensive, and it just continues going up. And you just learn that you have to give it your best shot, and have the support. The community was incredible during COVID. We had so many people coming in and ordering as often as they could to keep us in business. And the tent was great. We were so glad 2 weeks ago to get rid of it. I know there's some people that are very disappointed, but it was expensive because we had to rent it. We could not buy it. And it did take up 90% of our parking lot, so we had a lot of people that were not thrilled with that. And we do have an older clientele that it wasn't necessarily that easy to get in and out. But so the tent was phenomenal. But taking 18 tables and 100 chairs in and out every single day and setting them up with tablecloths, not so easy. So the employees, when we finally got rid of that, were jumping up and down and dancing with glee. But so were Alex and I. So it did teach us. It taught us how to run a business, and it taught us that no matter what, as long as you can be flexible and as long as you can pivot, you can still make something work.
Awesome. You know what I miss about Danny's
What?
because of COVID?
What?
Pickles.
The jar of pickles.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's been huge, because that has been how we've been known. 22 years of we're the place with pickles on the table, and people will come in and be like, "Where are the pickles? We're not allowed to do that."
Right.
I don't know if that will ever come back. I mean, people didn't take their hands and put them in the jar, and we had the tongs, and we did make sure that things were very sanitary in that sense. But it still is something that this day and age, you don't want to have something shared on the table. Maybe that'll come back. We still offer them so people can come in and just say, "Can I please have pickles?" We bring them out individually on the plates. But it is sad, because that is, so much of what we're known for.
Thank you again for coming in and sharing all that with us. So if people wanted to get a hold of, well, not you, but certainly if they wanted to order, how do they contact Danny's Deli?
They can call us, 805-289-9200. We have our email, which is dannysdeliandgrill@gmail.com. We have our website. Anyone, if there's a catering issue or questions, they can ask for Alex, my son, as I said, or myself. Just let us know, give us whatever period of time, and we will make it happen, because we truly enjoy doing whatever we can.
Well, I know we've enjoyed having you, and I hope that you'll return.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are great. Really enjoyed it.
Wonderful.
Thank you for coming in, Wendy. Fun with HR is brought to you by Atharva Workforce. You can reach them at 805-826-0033. If you think hiring a professional is hard, wait until you hire an amateur.
If you have employees, then it is your responsibility to keep them safe. That means written rules and procedures and processes all in place. If you don't have an illness and injury prevention program, a COVID prevention program, safety program, or emergency action plan, you could have Cal OSHA knocking on your door with a notice of violation and fines in hand. But don't worry, you're not on your own. The HR firm can walk you through the safety maze to get your company compliant, all while helping you keep your employees safe. And remember, these need to be written and distributed to employees. They offer a complimentary 1-hour consultation for new clients. As your local HR consultant, they're just a phone call away. For more information, contact them at info@thehrfirm.com or at 805-835-3476. The HR Firm, because if you have employees, you have issues.
Mortgage, a crazy method to borrow money. Do you know Bob Davis? He's been in Ventura County since 1967, in the loan business since 1985. Loan Depot and Bob Davis teamed up to provide honest and fair mortgage lending for everyone. Call 805-658-7435. Loan Depot and Bob Davis, real, honest, and fair mortgage lending. Call 805-658-7435. NMLS 249185.
Finding people to add to your team can be difficult when you don't know where to start. Do you even have a job description? Do you know how much you should be paying them? Do you even know where to find the right people for your team? Let the professionals at Atharva Workforce help you get started and find your next star employee. Spend time on your business, not searching for that new star employee. Call Atharva Workforce at 805-826-0033.
I'm really hoping for blue skies today. I don't know, because they've been kind of gray lately.
Well, it is Ventura by the sea.
It is. Atharva Workforce is currently looking for window washing technicians, bookkeepers, back office dental assistants, jewelry associates, and vet techs. If that's you, call Atharva Workforce at 805-826-0033. Our friend Bob Davis from the Loan Depot is back with us today. Can you believe it's been a month already?
No, I can't. He hasn't been
Yeah.
sick, I swear.
Yeah.
No,
He's
was the
wearing his
tickle.
mask.
Ah.
Nobody heard that cough.
wearing a mask.
Welcome back, Bob. How are you today?
I am well. Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, I just want to tag one thing on about Danny's Deli and Wendy and Alex specifically. When they are involved with something, they don't do it halfway. Years ago, we asked for them to give a tureen, a big thing, of chicken soup to an event that we were having because their chicken soup is to die for. So as much as I enjoy the challah, no, chicken soup is where I go, and I splurge with the matzo ball soup.
Oh.
So just so you know, if you want to savor good soup after 1:30, I mean, you can do it at 11 o'clock in the morning, but I love their soup.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it literally one of the things that, obviously I had girlfriend lunches, and one of the things that we had was always the chicken soup, and then half a sandwich, and then part of that became, well, you know, it's June and we're having chicken soup, but you just can't help but have some really good food.
It's a great place to be. It's not that far from where we live, but more specifically, supporting a local business is more important because there's 40 people there that rely upon me buying my pie. Okay, my slice of pie is critical to their life, right?
Yes.
It's
Okay, good.
fruit.
It's
Did you not
fruit.
hear? It's fruit.
It is
Anyway,
amazing.
I just wanted to add that in. Thank you for
Thank
letting
you.
me.
Of course.
That's
of course.
how we justify it. It's fruit.
It's
It's
fruit.
not, you know. No
I hope my
calories
wife
there.
is hearing this. Mary, it's fruit.
It is, Mary.
Apple pie, boysenberry
Exactly,
pie,
it's-
strawberry cream cheese.
Are you hearing all of these fruit choices? That's all I'm hearing. I'm not hearing the pie part. I'm hearing the fruit part.
Sure, Rosandra. Yeah.
It's just one of those. But Bob, tell us, what is your message today?
You know, today's message is people need to know. Oh, by the way, that's the phrase today. First 5 people that text me with that phrase, people need to know, will earn a coffee.
Bag of coffee.
Bag of coffee from Ventura Coffee Company. My favorite coffee company, and being a coffee snob, there is no other. The history on that may come at a different show, not today, but I'll tell you, the coffee there is fabulous. And that's a word that we'll use for today. But the other part of today is I do want to share with folks some very basic concepts about how to structure your credit going forward. Because if you're going to buy a house and you have some issues with your credit, just like employees, they are resolvable, but it almost always takes time. Not 3 days, not 3 minutes, but if you can address it early and on, it's not expensive, it's free. You can do it yourself and we'll coach you how to do it. The second part of it is, really importantly, is to misunderstand, as I said, misunderstand the myths, because there are so many lies out there. People in my industry are I love it when they go on the radio and say this and say that, and that's it. There's so much to this process. And if you as a consumer don't know it, don't be a fool and find out the facts, whether it's from me or somebody else, but do that. And the easiest way to find me is through my phone number of 805-658-7435, or you can go to any number of my websites. They all end up at the same place. Legally, I'm not supposed to tell you thebobdavis.com is how you can find me.
Although that's the easiest way.
There you go. But I do encourage anybody that has the phrase, people need to know, to text me before the show's over, so you can get your bag of coffee. And it's not just good coffee, it is great coffee.
We've had this coffee and it's really good, but I want to go back to your message. When people are looking to borrow money or refinance, I think the biggest problem is people wait until they actually want to buy rather than do the homework ahead. Because let's face it, a lot of us don't have perfect credit these days. We don't even have really good credit. But like you said, that could all be fixed, but it takes time and it takes work to bring your credit score back up. Yep. What are some of the ways people could do things to improve their credit score?
Sure. One of the very first things, when you have a late payment on your credit report, call up that vendor and say, hey, listen, I was late. In other words, admit the truth. I was late. Would you please remove it off my credit? About 15% of companies, if you don't have a history of being late, will remove it. Now, that's not a guarantee to you, but you need to understand if you don't ask the question from an honest perspective, you're not going to get an answer that you want to hear. Secondly, most negative pieces on your credit report have different rules as to how they can or cannot be reported. For example, if you have a collection account that is over 4 years of age, regardless of how much it is, they may not be able to collect that money from you. Well, that's good news, right? But it's not going to go off your credit report. So there are different methods as to how you want to approach your life, how to address that collection account. Again, we are not debt collectors. We are not credit agency. But we deal with this on a daily, sometimes minutely basis, so we can give you some really good ideas how to protect yourself. And again, this is so individualized, it is so customized that I might have somebody with exactly the same situation as you, Jeff. They live 2 doors down from you, but you will have completely different ways to address the issues. The one thing I'd like to make comment for people today about credit specifically is it's not telling you what or who you are. So if you have a really low credit score, that does not affect who you are as a human being. Some of the wealthiest clients we have credit scores below 600. And for those of you who are not familiar with all those numbers, that's low. Well, then why would a multi-millionaire have a 595 credit score and he can get a mortgage? Well, he's not going to get the same mortgage, or she's not going to get the same mortgage that you would if you had a 750 credit score. Is that important to you? In some cases, that's important to people. In some cases, it's not.
So what credit score are people looking for to qualify for a decent loan?
Well, I'm going to answer your question in 3 ways. So take notes on this, kids. And if my wife's listening, don't take notes on this. Number 1, if you want to get a loan using your VA privilege, you don't need a credit score. Now, it's preferred, but I said again, you do not need a credit score. That doesn't mean you can have bad credit. It just means you don't have a credit score. To get a loan with at least a very small down payment of, say, 3% down, you're going to need a credit score of at least 640. But to get an interest rate and a cost factor, in other words, what's the whole package going to cost you? If you're not over 660, you're going to spend a lot of money. So goals are, so if somebody walks in and they're a 619 credit score, there are different ways, depending upon their current credit report, what can be adjusted. I have some folks that I've worked with for over 2 years, and they are close to getting ready to buy a house. More recently, we had a person that came in with a 656 credit score, and because of some things that they did at direction by us and by other very smart people, their credit score now went over 720. Well, it not only allowed them to get the loan they wanted to get, but it also got them a much less of an interest rate. So the point that I want to make with you, Jeff, is everything is so personalized. It's highly important that you apply for a loan so you can get a credit report to see what there really is. Because the credit reports you get through your credit cards and the banks are generally worthless. That's with a capital W.
Awesome. That's good to know. I'll stop looking at it then.
Well, it'll make you feel good because it's usually a higher credit score than what your commercial grade credit report, something that a mortgage lender would pull, would get.
So not as much detail in those reports.
Correct.
Cool.
Wow, you're speechless
I am speechless.
because he makes it sound so easy, right?
He does.
Well, that's very kind. Let me put it incredibly directly. I was skinny and had hair when I started doing this. That's when the House of Pies resided in the place that is now Danny's Deli. That will give you a hint. A couple weeks ago, right? So what I want to get about this credit thing, you need to talk to a pro. Don't go online and expect to get actual answers. That's just like going to the HR firm and getting answers and then Googling it. Oh, no. You got to get the right stuff.
Right.
You can go to any number of other places to eat, and if you were to see me in person, folks, you would know I know the places to eat. And there's not many, by the way, the Wendy's special sandwich is the best to die for. You dip it in the au jus sauce, life is good. Back to the credit thing.
No,
Sorry,
let's go back to the
Wait. So we'll be going to Danny's Deli for that.
Oh, yes, you will. It'll love it. But all I'm saying is in the credit thing, you need to talk to somebody that knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I do not profess to be perfect, and I do not profess to know everything, because I don't. But I've done this since 1977. And what that really means is I know what mistakes to make because I generally made them. So I can give you that information. It costs you bupkis. That's zero. And if I don't want to talk to you anymore, I will say it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, so just so that I'm clear and I understand, because that could be a little thick sometimes. If somebody is considering buying a house or even refinancing, and you know your credit is not stellar, see Bob Davis. Bob will pull your report, you'll analyze it, you'll go over it with whoever is coming to you, and you will work with them and give them guidance on things they need to do to improve that score.
That is
so that they could get to the point where you will be able to write the loan to allow them to get into the house they want to be in.
And it will cost them
Zero.
bupkis.
Until they get the mortgage. Then it's going to cost them.
We get you for 30 years on that payment, okay?
There
We're
you go.
happy to help you.
So, Bob, you're very active in our community. What events are you working on right now?
Well, Santa Claus is going to be at the Smart and Final at Telegraph and Kimball from 10 to 11 today. Then he gets to go visit some children who are very cool because they are children
Of course.
in Ventura and in Camarillo. The Christmas shop through Action in Camarillo is what we'll be doing all next Saturday. And after that 5-hour stint of sitting there and being able to be loved on by a bunch of kids What's a better job than that?
That is just,
I get to go, Santa gets to go visit other kids in Camarillo and in Oxnard. So, and the Santa pretty much doesn't stay around very long. Santa's a pop in, pop out kind of guy. And that way they don't get bored and they don't realize that the beard is real, because they love to pull on the beard. I want to thank you guys for what you do for the community. Spence, I didn't pick on you yet today, so I'll get next time. But I really do want you to know that what you do makes a difference. So thank you.
thank you. But
Oh,
I
thank
see
you.
something with a car here.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Everybody write this down, wheelstoshine.org. Concourse Motors, JR and Rita Luna, this will be their 5th year of giving away a car. And if you want to go to wheelstoshine.org, you can nominate somebody that you think a vehicle that comes with 1 year of complete free maintenance. Not gas, sorry. They'll be giving it away in the middle of the month. Spence is going, really? How about me?
I've heard about this that JR and his wife do. I think that's spectacular that they do that every year.
Yep, they're great people.
So
Thanks for
go
having me
to
today.
wheelstoshine.org. And Bob, thanks for coming in. Why don't you tell everybody again real quickly how to get a hold of you?
Sure. My phone number is 805-658-7435. And the official web address is loandepot.com/Bob Davis. That's for my compliance department.
Or bobdavis.com.
No, me, the Bob Davis.
TheBobDavis.com.
The baby.
Fun with HR was brought to you by the professionals at the HR firm in Atharva Workforce. We take care of each other so we can grow together. Until next week, when we will have Amy Towner, who will talk about the Ronald McDonald Family Rooms at VCMC. Atharva Workforce will be in to talk about payroll. And Karen Cormier will be here to talk about networking and team. See you all next week.
I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes, eh?